So I've been having some interesting conversations online on Threads. I spend a lot of time on Threads. Yeah, it's crazy. It took me 3 hours to get through all the comments and reply back. And who knew that this little me throwing my opinions out there hobby turned into a fucking goddamn full time job. But you know what? I enjoy it. So, but here's this thing. I just kind of want to talk about here real quick, right? Is different voices in our Canadian Parliament. And what I have a fear in happening in this election is it's going to become a Liberal Party, Conservative Party battle, right? And I fear what could end up happening is parties like the NDP just get utterly decimated, right? And I think that's not a good thing. One of the things I like about Canada and our political system, particularly in the past, 10 years or even 15, Harper had a minority, is minority parliaments. I like minority parliaments. It forces the parties to work together, and I think Canadians as a whole are served better when parties are forced to work together. Now, that being said, this election is an election of great importance, and I think that the next government really needs to have a majority. They need to be able to be nimble, make quick decisions, and not have to confer with other parties and things of that nature there. So, this one particular election, I think, could be very damaging for the smaller parties. The NDP, the Greens, even the Bloc Québécois. I mean, I can see them. They're not going to be decimated. But who knows, right? The sentiment across the country seems to be galvanizing towards the Liberals. Now, yeah, it's still early and we got lots of time and elections matter, but if things continue the way they look like they're continuing, uh, I mean, I don't even know in 6 weeks' time if we'll be talking about Pierre Poilievre being in politics anymore, right? If he doesn't win government, he's for sure done the leader. I mean, if he doesn't win his seat, I mean, you know, who knows, right? I don't know the particular politics of his riding, how safe it is, but even if the Conservatives win a minority government, you got to wonder if Pierre Poilievre would have the votes to be able to sustain his government, and we're back into election by the end of the year, or if he gets removed as leader, because 3 months ago it was talking about an epic conservative landslide to if a minority parliament, yeah, it's a win, but is it really? So I mean, we got some really really interesting times, but I just fear that everyone's going to go either conservative or liberal, that the third parties are going to be the ones that really suffer. And, they hold important voices that need to be heard. And I think that, yeah, it might not end well, which sucks for Canada because then we become ironically more Americanized. Having a two-party system. We've always had a two-party system, but we had safe places that we could put protest votes, and even have protest parties. Less mainstream parties win seats. Look at the Green Party and the Bloc Québécois, even the NDP, right? So we may end up, like I said, being in a situation where we are trying hard not to be American, but yet we may end up being more American because of it. Either way, it is important that we vote, and I'm never going to tell anybody to vote. I don't make my choices that hidden. I'm a Carney supporter. I'm going to vote Carney this upcoming election. I think he truly is the best person to run the job, even before we go into the election, just based on resumes alone. I mean, if you were to give me Pierre Poilievre's resume, Carney's resume, without me meeting the people, knowing their politics, knowing anything about them, but just looking at their resumes, I would go with Carney, hands down, right? So, I mean, for me, it's a pretty simple decision, right? But I mean, I always say people need to really think about your vote, think about what's important. But after looking at all the different choices and options and being informed and doing research, if you find the Conservatives is the party that aligns with you, then you should vote for them. Same thing with the NDP. But if it's looking like it could be a conservative minority or liberal minority and your riding counts, strategic voting may end up happening. So, for good or for bad, I don't know. Time will tell. But yeah, I just think it's important that we have different voices at the table, and this election could be not good for smaller parties in Canada. So take that for what it may be, and yeah, but just make sure you stay informed, get educated, make a wise choice.